Moving on to black. Starting with Bitter Downfall, 1 black, 3 colorless, instant. This spell costs 3 less to cast if it targets a creature that was dealt damage this turn. Destroy target creature. Its controller loses 2 life. Well, 4 mana if you don't have anything that's, not working off the dealt damage this turn synergy. It's 4 mana, destroy target creature, and its controller loses 2 life, and it's an instant. Yeah, I'll take this every time I see it if I can. It's a B.
I had it as a B, and as I'm looking at it again, especially having gone through more of the colors in the set now, I think I'm changing mine to B plus.
I was just gonna say after you, mine's going to a B plus because it's 4 mana removal and they lose 2 life.
Yeah, because in other sets, a lot of the removal like this would be 5 mana or even 6 mana, right? And it's not always even an instant. This is just, it's too good. And don't underestimate the controller losing 2 life, right? Like if you're down to the to holding them by fingernails at the end of a game, that could be a game changer too. This is a great card, B plus for me.
The Black Breath, 1 black, 2 colorless sorcery. Creatures your opponents control gets -1/-1 until end of turn, and the Ring Tempts You. I gave it a C. It's sorcery speed. I would give it a little higher if it wasn't, but yeah, I gave it a C.
Yeah, I'm with you for the same reason. It's very on theme for black to have, board wipey kind of things. If you're playing against someone who's got a lot of tokens going on, this will ruin their day. But I'm with you on the sorcery speed. So yeah, it's a C, but I wouldn't mind drafting it.
So Call of the Ring, it's 1 black, 1 colorless enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, the Ring Tempts You. Whenever you choose a creature as your ring bearer, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card. I gave this a B because even though the ring is tempting you, you're still and you're anytime you choose a creature as your ring bearer, this does black magic things because if you pay 2 life, you're drawing a card. So I gave it a B.
I gave it a C plus. I might be undervaluing it. You're right. It is definitely doing black things of you get some benefit, but there's a cost to it, which is also super on theme for this set of, the One Ring. So I love that. I might not be valuing it highly enough with a C plus, but I get you on the B.
Let's see. Sirith Ungol Patrol. Hopefully I said that right. That's 1 black, 4 colorless creature orc soldier. That's a 4/5. It's got, you can pay 1 colorless and tap it, or sacrifice another creature, draw a card, then create a food token. I gave it a B minus because I like that it's just pay 1, sacrifice a creature, another creature. Let's be precise, and then we get a draw card and also pump out a food token. So, I saw this pairing well with like green or even white, and so yeah, I gave it a B minus.
I'm at a C plus, but I was really torn on it. Let me just think out loud here. So if it's the opponent's turn and this is untapped and we've gone through all the attacking, blocking stuff, and now it's the end of their turn, I could activate this at the end of their turn. Sack a token, draw a card, create a food token, and then this untaps again on my turn. So that is pretty nice to be able to do that. Yeah, you're right. It's probably B minus. I was just a little hesitant on the 4/5 for 5, but that effect it's got is pretty nice. And in black, where you're going to be pinging your own life a lot of times, having the food token that you can sack and get 3 life is great.
Moving on to Claim the Precious, 2 black, 1 colorless, sorcery, destroy target creature, and the Ring Tempts You. I gave it a solid B.
Yeah, me too, man. 3 mana for a destroy, and you get the Ring Temptation flavor on it. Great name, Claim the Precious, for something, with the Ring Tempt on it. I love it. It's good.
So Dunlin, what is this?
Kerbane?
Kerbane? Yeah. I'll go with that. Kerbane. 1 black, 2 colorless, creature bird Aura. It's a 1/1 flying. And when this enters the battlefield, amass orcs 2. I gave it a C plus. It's flyer, it's three mana, and we get to pump out a 2/2 or put two 1/1 counters on our army. I freaking love this card.
It's great. I just gave it a plain old C. You said C plus for you, right?
Yeah, which I may even change it to a B minus now. I'm gonna change it to a B minus. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's cool. I get it. I just didn't like that it was only a 1/1 because I mean I can't do much damage with it as a 1/1. It would serve as a chump blocker in the air if I needed one, and it could, I guess, be a sack target. Although I'd hate to sacrifice something with flying unless I was getting a lot of value. Um, but no, I hear you. I guess it just depends. If you've got a lot of Amass Orcs synergy in your deck, then this card's probably worth more. But I'm sitting at a C on it right now. I'd be happy to draft it. I'd probably play it, but I don't know.
Well, even if you don't have the amass orcs, look at it this way: you're paying 3 mana to get a 1/1 flyer and a 2/2 orc on the board.
That's a good point. You are getting 2 creatures and 3/3 worth of value between the 2 of them, right? One flying, one on the ground.
It might even be a solid B. I don't know. I think B minus is where I'm going to stick with it, though.
Okay, I'm going to nudge up to at least C plus. Oh, I'm getting closer to you on that. Good point.
And blue black does have a lot of amass stuff, which I'm looking forward to.
Somebody was also joking that this is the reverse of the preening champion that we had in Mom, which is a 2/2 flyer with what makes a 1/1. This is a 1/1 that makes a 2/2. So it's the mirror reverse of that.
Exactly.
They called it the champing preener or something. It was funny.
So Easterland Vanguard, 1 black, 1 colorless, creature human warrior. That's a 2/1, and when this dies, amass orcs 1. I gave it a C plus because it's a 2 mana, 2 for 1. That also pumps out a orc 1/1, or you put on an extra counter. I gave it a C plus.
Me too. I think it's great in a black deck where you're probably going to be sacrificing things, and it doesn't quite replace itself, but definitely puts another body back on the board, and it's good fodder, right? And it's good early game stuff, so C plus.
Golem Patient Plotter, 1 black, 1 colorless, legendary creature, halfling horror. That's a 3/1. And when Golem Patient Plotter leaves the battlefield, the Ring Tempts You. You can also pay 1 black, sacrifice a creature, return Golem from your graveyard to your hand, and activate only as a sorcery. I gave it a B minus. Because it's 2 mana for a 3/1, and also it's got that whole sacrifice synergy, and this can keep coming back to your hand. But it's only as a sorcery, so I would love to be able to do it on their turn, but whatever.
You said B minus, right, for you?
Yeah, B minus.
I gave it just a solid B. I think this is going to be a super annoying card to play against. If you got a black deck that's doing the right things, or even Orzhov, right? You got something that's pumping out a lot of cheap creatures, so that that sacrifice mechanic is really affordable and even beneficial. This card keeps coming back, and the ring temps every time, so you keep advancing, down the 4 stages of the ring whenever that happens. Again, a great flavor for a Golem card, but I think this could be a hidden gem and a very annoying card to play against because you just can't make it go away. It's great.
Golem's Bite, 1 black, instant, target creature gets -2/- until end of turn. You can also pay 3 colorless and 1 black and exile Golem's Bite from your graveyard. The Ring Tempts You, activate only as a sorcery. I gave it a B minus, but I might change this to a solid B now, because I really like 1 mana something gets -2/-2. I really do like these kind of like haha removals, you know.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a good point, especially for 1 mana. I had it at a C plus. I think I'm actually going to change and go with you on the B minus. But do you want to be straight B or B minus then?
I'm gonna leave it at B-. That was my gut reaction. So yeah.
Yeah, and I just haven't seen a ton of removal yet. So even something like this that may not be uber removal is still pretty valuable. And there's a bunch of creatures that have 1 or 2 butts. And even the ones that aren't, you might knock them down enough that one of your blockers takes them out, right? So yeah, it's a great combat trick.
Okay, gore bag of Menace Morgul. Minus. I don't. One black, one colorless, legendary creature, orc soldier, 2/2. Whenever a goblin or orc you control deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. When you do, choose one, draw a card, or create a treasure token. I gave it a B-.
Yeah, me too. It's great value. Obviously, you need to have orc and goblin things going on, but black's doing a lot of that, and some other colors too, like red comes to mind. So it's a great card. For two mana, I'd draft that all day.
So Gothmog, Morgul, Lieutenant. Am I saying that right? Morgul.
I think it's Morgul, yeah, or Morgul. Yeah, I don't know. I'd say Morgul for now. We'll get corrected, I'm sure. Like you said, it's going to drive a lot of chatter on your YouTube comments, which is okay. They can school us on the proper Middle Earth pronunciation.
So one black, three colorless, legendary creature, human soldier. When this enters the battlefield, amass orcs 1. Also, creature tokens you control have death touch. I did not see that in my initial. I gave it a B. I think I got to give this a B plus. Actually, yeah, I'm changing it to a B plus because 4 mana and you're getting a 3/3 plus another creature, or also sticking the extra counter. Yeah, I got to go for B plus.
Yeah, I'm with you on B plus. The other thing that is clicking through my brain, I think we've seen some cards that you can play as an instant that then allow you to cast other spells as if they had flash. So imagine flashing this in, right? On the attack or defense, when you've got a bunch of tokens out there, and now all of a sudden everything's a death toucher. Oh man, how annoying is that, right? It's a
Yeah.
great card. I gave it a B plus. I considered giving it an A minus almost, but I don't know that it's just a hands down game winner. But I think in most decks it will be. It's great.
Grima, Wormtongue, one black, two colorless, legendary creature, human advisor. That's a 1/4. Your opponents can't gain life. It's also got a tap symbol on it for sacrifice another creature. Target player loses 1 life. If the sacrifice creature was legendary, amass orcs 2. And let's see. My initial reaction to this was a B-.
Yeah, I'm at C plus, so we're not far off. This is the take that white card, right?
Yeah.
Like the white that wants to gain life, especially from the food tokens. Try again. That's pretty awesome. And then being able to ping him at the end of their turn as long as this thing stays on board. A 4 booty's pretty good, so it's going to be a little harder to take out just from damage or a minus spell. It's great. It's a good card. You might be right with the B minus. I'm sitting at C plus right now.
Braun the Gatebreaker, one black, three colorless, legendary artifact vehicle. It's got trample for 5/5. As long as it's your turn, and you control an army, Braun the Gatebreaker is an artifact creature. It's also got crew of 3. I gave this a B minus. Then again, with as much amass stuff that we have going on in black, I 4 for a 5/5. maybe a B, but you know what? I'm going to stick with B minus on it because at the end of the day, if you don't have it, it's still got a crew 3.
Yeah, I gave it just a solid B. I think the trample is what really is the swing vote for me. But you're right. I love that I can, if I've got an army on board, it's just a 5/5 with trample for 4 mana. Holy smokes, right? That's great. And the crew cost is low. 3 is not that big a deal. So yeah, I'm at a B on this. I would love to draft that.
Yeah, this is something I may change in the future. But yeah, it's definitely a B card, that's for sure. Haunt of the Dead Marshes, 1 black. Creature Nightmare Elf, that's a 1/1. And when this enters the battlefield, scry 1. It's also got 2 colorless, 1 black activation cost for return Haunt of the Dead Marshes from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Activate only if you control a legendary creature. I gave it a C plus, but I with as much legendaries in this as there is, no, you know what? I still got to leave it as well. But it does scry. Good grief. I'm going B minus on this. I think the scry value is huge impact, especially in limited. So I got to go B minus. So
I think for me, whether because I've got it at a C plus, whether it's a C plus or B minus is going to depend a little bit on what I'm pairing it with. So, like if I'm in Demir, where I'm pairing black with blue, and blue likes scry and wants scry to do things, then this scry loop that you've got here becomes even more valuable. And so I'm with you on more being in the B territory at that point. This is a great sack target for black too. 1 mana, 1/1. It's awesome, and we'll see. We'll see who's right here. But again, happy to draft it. Probably would play it. It's a super high value card for very little cost.
Sealdoor's Fateful Strike, 2 black, 2 colorless, legendary instant. And it says you may cast a legendary instant only if you control a legendary creature or a planeswalker. So we get to destroy target creature. If its controller has more than 4 cards in hand, they exile cards from their hand equal to the difference. I gave it a B plus because I would love to play this on turn 4, and but the problem is you do have to have a legendary creature, but I feel like that may not be a problem, so it could be a solid B. But I went with B plus, hoping to exile some of their cards.
Yeah, we're close. I gave it a B. I kind of had a lot of the thoughts you did. This is especially fun for those games where you're up against some opponent that's hoarding cards. It's later in the game and they've got 6 or 7 cards in hand, and you get to watch 2 or 3 of those go bye-bye. That's super satisfying. The value's incredible. The only reason I didn't give it the B plus is because of the requirement to have a legendary creature on board. There's a lot of legendary creatures. You're right, but I don't know. There could be those situations where your stuff's all been killed and this is sitting there like a removal you can't use. So I'm going to stick it at B.
So, this is one of those cards I'd like to circle back on to see if it says legendary instant. You may cast a legendary instant only if you control a legendary creature. So yeah, it tells us right there, if we just straight up read it, we can't cast this if we don't control a legendary. I was sitting there going, well, why don't you just cast it as legendary sorcery speed? But no, it doesn't give you that option.
Yeah, well, think about this too, because I think this would play. Let's say you've got 1 legendary creature on board. You cast this, then the opponent casts removal for your legendary creature, which is going to go on the top of the stack. I think it'll fizzle this.
Yes, it definitely will.
Right. I mean, so I don't know. It's pretty situational. It might not even be a B. It might be a B minus, but I think it's probably a B. There's a lot of stuff that's legendary. So, it may be one of those you want to make sure you've got 2 legendary things on board or that they're tapped out before you try to use it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm going to change my rating to a B because it's not quite A minus style for me. Yeah, I'm going to change it to a B.
Sounds good.
Lash of the Belrog. So, 1 black sorcery, and as an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature or a 4 colorless and destroy target creature. So, it's 1 mana, remove, if we're sacrificing something, a creature that is. Or you're paying 5 to destroy target creature. So I gave it a C/B. I mean, it's a B if you have fodder. If not, it's a C for me.
Well, then you need to pick. What are you going to call it? Are you going to call it a C plus or B minus or?
I guess that's a good point. I'll go C plus.
So I gave it a B plus because it's in black, and black sacrifices things, right? And black has a lot of the amass orc stuff, so I could have 1/1 tokens and other things. So now it's a 1 mana destroy target creature. I wish it was instant, but even if it's just 5 mana destroy target creature sorcery speed, still pretty dang good removal. So I'm sitting at B plus. Maybe I'm overvaluing that a little bit, but that was my read on this one. And again, flavor A plus. So great, it's so great.
I would give it a solid B if it was instant, but for me, yeah, the C plus is where I feel like it's at right now. So,
Makes sense.
Lobella, I think or Lobelia, or I don't know. Sackville Baggins. 1 black, 2 colorless, legendary creature, halfling citizen, 2/3 with flash and menace. And when this enters the battlefield, exile target creature card from an opponent's graveyard that was put there from the battlefield turn. Then create X treasure tokens, where X is the exiled card's power. I gave it a B minus. Even if you don't get to play this for the exile target creature card thing, it's 3 mana for a 2/3, got menace. It is nice when you're able to play it for the extra value. Do I want to change this to a B? See, it's great to play it early, but when you play it late, it's like, well, yay, more mana that I don't, don't know what to do with until I get something I can pump it into. I'm gonna leave it at B minus.
Yeah, I've got it at B plus actually, because just a 3 mana 2/3 with flash and menace is pretty strong to me. The additional upside. So the way I looked at it, there are some other cards in the deck that have token synergies. So you might sack a treasure token to some other cards to trigger their effects, even though you're not caring about the mana. So yeah, I'm at a B plus on this, but we're obviously kind of both in the same range here, thinking this is a great card. I see it. I want to draft it.
So, March from the Black Gate, 1 black, 1 colorless enchantment. When this enters the battlefield, and whenever an army you control attacks, amass orcs 1. I gave it a B minus.
You might be closer to correct than me. I gave it a C plus. I love that it's only 2 mana. A lot of enchantments are kind of expensive, which just makes the game slow. And black is doing the amass orcs thing, so this could be really strong, right?
You know what? I'm gonna change it to a solid B, because
You think?
yeah, because I could see like getting past 2 of these and like, oh, I'm taking 2 of those, because you put this down, you're amassing orcs 1, and whenever you attack, you're pumping in that particular orc army by another counter. So this just gets better the more March from the Black Gates you have.
That's a great point. to being able to play multiples. But even if you're just playing one, yeah, it's a good point about every time an army attacks, it just gets bigger if they don't kill it, and it makes one to get you started if you don't have any.
Yep.
It's interesting. I'm going to upgrade to B minus, but I got you down at B. Makes sense.
Mirkwood Bat. 1 black, 3 colorless, flying creature bat, 2/3. Whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses 1 life. So I like this card. I'm gonna give it a B minus because we like our flyers, and I can sacrifice food tokens and they lose a life. So I like this. Or whenever you create on top of it. Yeah, so create or sacrifice. So
imagine you've got this on board, and then you play Lobelia, Sackville Baggins, which we just talked about, right? And she creates 3 treasure tokens, which now cost the opponent 3 life. And then when you burn those treasure tokens, it costs them 3 more life, even if you don't need the mana. You follow, right? So the synergies here are pretty cool. I love this card. I think it's great. I want as many of these as I can get.
All right, you convinced me from B minus to B on that one. So, all right, Mordor Muster. 1 black, 1 colorless sorcery. You draw a card and you lose 1 life. I like it already. And amass orcs +1. So I gave this a B minus because it's doing black magic things. Even though it's sorcery speed, it's 2 mana for a draw card. Yes, we're losing a life, but we're also putting a 1/1 creature down or amassing another 1/1 counter.
I've got this one as a C, but I think it's situational. So like again, if I'm in Dimir, so I'm paired up with blue that cares about card draw especially. This gets a lot more interesting to me. Because just by itself, a card that draws a card just replaces itself, and it costs me a life, and I get a Mass Orcs 1. I don't know, But if I'm like teamed up with blue, where I've got things that trigger when I have my second card draw, for example, then this gets a whole lot more interesting, a lot more powerful. So I'd be closer to your B minus situationally, but I'm gonna leave it at a C for now. We'll see how it all plays out.
I'm actually gonna change it to a C plus. Again, my B minuses and C pluses are really close. It's because of the sorcery. Yes, I think I like this card, but I don't think it's B category now that I'm doing a double look at it. So yeah, C plus for me.
Well, and to help too, and we didn't cover this for today's session, but we did at the beginning of yesterday's. In our grading system, a B is high value, strong cards, prioritize whenever possible. That's a pretty strong statement. So even a B minus is supposed to be something you would prioritize in the draft pick. Whereas a C is filler that are fine but not amazing, may or may not make the cut after your draft. And I think that this one goes in that category, right? It's fine. I would draft it probably, but when I'm having to cut cards, is it that strong that I would keep this over something else? I don't know if I would. So that's kind of where I'm at on being the C.
So Mordor Trebuchet, am I saying that right?
Trebuchet, yep.
All right, good. So some things I remember.
Well, that's a French word, not Middle Earth. So
you're right. So 1 black, 2 colorless, artifact creature wall, 1/4 defender. Whenever you attack with 1 or more goblins and or orcs, create a 2/1 colorless construct artifact creature token with flying named Ballistic Boulder that's tapped and attacking. Sacrifice that token at the end of combat. I gave it a C plus. I mean, it's defender 1/4, so yeah, C plus for me.
I gave it a C plus also, but A plus for flavor. It's so cool the way that they're doing that mechanic, right? 2/1 flying boulder, perfect, man. And it disappears in a turn, right? You throw it and that's it. It's great. They did a good job on that.
It does come with flying. Yeah, that's true. Wow. That is interesting. Yeah, flavor wise, that's pretty high on. All right, Morgul Knife Wound. It's 1 black, 1 colorless enchantment aura, enchant creature, and enchanted creature gets -3/-0 and has, at the beginning of your upkeep, exile this creature unless you pay 2 life. I give it a C plus. I'd be happy to draft one of these. Does it make the cut? Don't know, but I'd be happy to put it in my deck.
Me too. I think it's also cool flavor again. But imagine putting this on one of their better legendaries, right? Something that they don't really want to exile. So now you're pinging them for 2 life every turn. That's great.
Nasty Inn, 1 black, 1 colorless, instant. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature, draw 2 cards. If the sacrificed creature was legendary, draw 3 cards instead. At first I had this at a B. But I may change this to a B minus. Because I was thinking of the one back in the, the D&D cards where you can either sacrifice a creature or a token and draw 2, which was just phenomenal. But this one is just a creature, so I'm going to go B minus with this. I'd be happy to pick it up if I see it.
Yeah, drawing 2 cards with the chance to maybe even draw 3 is pretty strong for 2 mana, and it's an instant. I gave it a B minus also.
Nazgul, 1 black, 2 colorless creature, Wraith Knight, 1/2 with Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, the Ring Tempts You. Whenever the Ring tempts you, put a 1/1 counter on each Wraith you control. A deck can have up to 9 cards named Nazgul. So I gave it a solid B because it's 3 mana and it's going to come in as a 2/3. And it's got Death Touch on top of it. And when the ring keeps tempting you, this keeps getting pumped up. So, good grief. Is this a B plus? Or no, I'm gonna stay with B on this.
I had it at a B minus because of it being a 1/2, but you bring up a good point. When it comes in, it buffs itself because the ring tempts you. So it does come in as a 2/3. And it's incredible that you can draft more than one of these. Yeah, this could really start running away in a game, and it begs somebody to remove it. You're right. That's a B.
Hold on, I'm checking the ring mechanics here one quick.
Here's the other thing. You end up making that your ring bearer, and if your ring has tempted you 4 times so that you've got all 4 things on the stack, that the fourth effect is whenever your ring bearer deals combat damage to a player, each opponent loses 3 life. So by now you've got a big creature swinging in. They've got to block it or remove it. Otherwise they're going to, at a minimum lose 3 life plus the damage. It's nasty.
So even though, all right, so when the ring maxes out, it's for, its final 4 abilities. It's reached its full power and won't gain additional abilities as the ring tempts you in the future. But it's still tempting you. So I if I'm not wrong, so you're still going to get the 1/1 counter on this.
Yeah. Even if the ring has already tempted you 4 times, so you've maxed out all the effects of the ring emblem that you're going to attach to that creature card. Every time the ring tempts you, you're still going to trigger this effect. I don't see that it stops.
Yeah, I really like this card, flavor wise, and just like man, I would be so happy to play this though. Yeah, I'll stay with my B on this.
Yeah, might even be a B plus, and especially if you get more than one of these. Oof, nasty.
Right? And my board would look horrifically awesome too if I had more than one of these on there, because the card just looks great.
Yeah, and spot on with the flavor again too. By the way, at some point, and we could either do it in between colors or at the end or whatever, we should cover the Ring Tempts You mechanic for your listeners. because I had to do some reading on it for a little bit and kind of read it twice to make sure I understood what that means.
Yeah, let's do it after we finish black. We'll do that and then take a quick break, and then
That sounds great. Yeah.
we'll go into red, green, multicolored, and finish this out. So,
Okay.
Oath of the Grey Host, 1 black, 3 colorless. It's a saga, and you and target opponent each create a food token for phase 1. Phase 2, each opponent loses 3 life. Create a treasure token. And then phase 3, create 3 tapped 1/1 white spirit creature token flying. I gave it a C plus because I like having 3 flyers at the end of phase 3. So the phase 1, phase 2 is meh, but 4 mana for 3/1/1 flyers plus it did some other stuff. I gave it a C plus.
Man, think if you had one of those Mirkwood bats down when this comes out too, because this thing is going to make 5 tokens by the time it's done. So you're pinging the opponent for 5 life when they're created, right? And then you could burn the Foon token to ping them again, and you could burn the treasure token to ping them again. So that's seven damage to face if you've got a Mirkwood bat down during the whole time this is going on. If you had 2 Mirkwood bats down, that's probably game over.
You know, you brought up a very good point. I'm even tempted to up my rating on that Mirkwood bats, but we'll do that later.
So what was your rating on this one again?
On this one, I gave it a C plus. Just because even if you don't have the bats, you're still getting the 3/1/1 white spirit creature token.
Yeah, and and it's 4 mana too. I was looking at that. I don't like that it also gives. Actually, I take it back. So it's creating 6 tokens, right? Because the first step gives you and the opponent a food token, which I didn't like. And even though it pings them for 2 life on the next step, you just gave them a food token, which gains 3 life. So that's kind of neutral. The payoff's really at the end of this thing. It's kind of slow, so I probably wouldn't go higher than a C plus here. But if I've got Mirkwood bats, this gets a whole lot more interesting.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that when I was going over it. But then again, I was also doing this whole review late at night so that I could at least know some of the cards, when I'm talking about them on stream. So yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move on to 1 ring to rule them all. 2 black, 2 colorless. It's a saga. Phase 1, the ring tempts you. Then each player mills cards equal to your ring bearer's power. Phase 2, destroy all non-legendary creatures. Phase 3, each opponent loses 1 life for each creature card in that player's graveyard. Where is this one? I give it a I think B plus is too much because there's so much legendary. I'll give it a B or B minus. Where do I want to go with this? I think I'm going to do B minus.
Yeah, I'm close to you. I'm kind of disappointed in this card for one thing. For the card that's 1 ring to rule them all, right? I feel like this should have been just crazy uber, and maybe this will play out better than the scenarios I'm thinking about. The destroy all non-legendary creatures thing, like if I've got a bunch of tokens, like I've amassed orcs, those all go bye-bye, right? So I think there's going to be a number of times where kind of anything that's got a board wipe kind of feature, you're going to be sitting there holding it in your hand going, it's not worth it for me to play it. Step 3 is where some of the payoff is, but let's go back and think again about if I've got Mirkwood bats down and there's a bunch of tokens on board, and then I hit step 2 here. Right? Ping, 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 ping. Like I think as Mirkwood is dying, because it's not a legendary, I'm going to double check that. I think its effect still kicks in, and you're doing tons of damage to the opponent right in the face on step 2.
Oh yeah, if you're taking out their, let's see, hold on.
Whenever you create or sacrifice a token. Oh no, I take it back. So it's not just tokens leaving the battlefield, it's a destroy. So no, it wouldn't ping them.
Correct.
That's too bad. Yeah, for me this is a C plus. I wished it would have been better. if you play it late game and the opponent has a lot of creatures in their yard, then step 3 could be your game-winning condition.
Yeah, I mean that's why I gave it a B minus. I mean, I like to destroy, and I like that they're going to take damage from it. And on top of that, you're filling their graveyard with phase one, so just a little bit. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's a B card, but it with this set having so much legendary, that's why I gave it a B minus. Like,
Yeah, you could be right. We're close on it.
So yeah, Orcish Bowmasters, 1 black, 1 colorless creature, Orc Archer, 1/1 with a flash. When this enters the battlefield, and whenever an opponent draws a card, except the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, this deals 1 damage to any target and amass Orcs 1. Then amass Orcs 1. Sorry. So my initial thing was a B minus, but I gotta go with. Do I want to make this a B? Obviously, you know what? B minus is what it is for me. I think it gets better if you're playing an opponent that is obviously drawing extra cards. But if they're not doing that, then it's just a flash 1/1. So.
I'm with you. I gave it a B minus, mainly because it's got a 1 butt, right? I mean, if you breathe on it too hard, it dies.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be a removal magnet. It is interesting if you're playing against blue, where they're doing a bunch of extra card draw, and you're going to ping them every time. That's pretty nice. It's not a complete total game changer, but it could be. It could be great if you can keep it on the board. I think that's what it comes down to. But for 2 mana, a flash 1/1 just by that, is pretty darn good. And if the other effects trigger from time to time, great.
And I should reiterate here because I just reread it. It's actually a 2 mana flash 1/1 creature that also summons a 1/1 orc, or you put a 1/1 counter on it. Because as it comes in, it's still doing the 1 damage to any target and then amassing. So I still think it's a B card, but not. I don't know, B minus. Yeah.
Yep.
Orcish Medicine, 1 black, 1 colorless, instant. Target creature gains your choice of lifelink or indestructible until end of turn and amass Orcs 1. I gave it a C because it's a combat trick. Cool, gives us a creature, but I'm not going to prioritize it over other cards.
I'm with you. I think it's a C. I'd draft it probably. It's probably not super high priority, but it could be really handy as a combat trick.
Sam's Desperate Rescue, 1 black, sorcery. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Ring Tempts You. I gave it a C.
Yeah, it's a solid C. It's a great card. I love that it's only 1 mana. It's a little bit of a bummer at sorcery, and that it returns the creature to your hand. So I still have to cast that creature again. But like if they've removed an important legendary, right? Like the next card, and I can get it back for 1 mana. Heck yeah, it may be better than a C in the right deck.
So Sauron, the Necromancer, it's 2 black, 3 colorless, legendary creature, Avatar Horror, 4/4 menace, and whenever Sauron, the Necromancer, attacks, exile target creature card from your graveyard. Create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 3/3 black wraith with menace. At the beginning of the next end step, exile that token unless Sauron is your ring bearer. So I gave Sauron a freaking A because I'm like, he's going to be my ring bearer.
Yeah, I need to read that part again.
So those
When
tokens
Sauron
stay on the
attacks-
board, yeah.
No, at the beginning of the next end step, exile that token. Oh, unless Sauron is your ring bearer. Okay, I got you. So make Sauron your ring bearer, and he's just pumping out tokens, which is perfect for a necromancer. I had him in an A minus. You're right, that's an A. Well, let me ask this: is that a game winner? It probably is.
It
If they
well,
if they can't take it off the board, um,
yeah, because I mean, you're getting whatever's in your graveyard back, and it's becoming a 3/3. So if it had value on top of it, even better.
the other thing is, like, even if I'm bringing back a 1/1 creature from the graveyard, it's coming in as a 3/3 Wraith with Menace. And the other thing this reminds me of, if I have
Those
Nazguls,
raves, yes.
if I have Nazguls, so all the Wraiths get buffed. Ooh, nasty. Right. That's beautiful. Yeah, that's a solid A.
So yeah, I mean, it could be an A minus. Maybe I'm overvaluing it,
No,
but
I don't think so. I think you're right. That's an A card. If they can't remove this, it's an eventual game winner.
oh yeah, you're gonna start just necroing the entire board. Shadow of the Enemy, 3 black, 3 colorless sorcery. Exile all creature cards from target player's graveyard. You may cast spells from among those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast them. I gave this a hard A. It may even be an A plus.
I gave it an A minus only because I still have to spend mana to cast those spells, and I don't know if the opponent's going to have much in their graveyard that I want to cast.
True.
But where I could see your point of view is by the time I cast this, because it's 6 mana, it's pretty late in the game. The chance that they've got some valuable things in their yard is pretty decent. So it may be worthwhile.
I'll stay with an A on this.
Hey, I would draft it, right? I just
Heck
don't
yeah.
know. I just don't know. Well, so the reason I'm on the south end of the A here is it a game winner for me? Some games, yes, but not kind of automatically. It's very dependent on what the opponent has in their graveyard.
True. I'm thinking of getting rid of their best thing with removal and then being able to cast that plus all of their fodder back. So it's situational. It really is. So maybe I'm overvaluing it with an A, but for right now, I'm going to say A.
You raise a really good point. Even if they've got just a bunch of fodder in their graveyard and now you can cast it, because again, by this time where you're casting a 6 mana card, you probably don't have much left in your hand. Even if you just throw 3 or 4 weenie things down that, to clutter up your side of the board, there's a lot of value in that. I just don't know if that's a game winning thing. It's a game extending thing. That's for sure.
All right. So Shalobs. Anyways.
I think it's Shalob.
Shalobs?
It might be Shalob. I have to get some experts to help us there. I should probably look up a Middle Earth pronunciation guide while we're on the stream.
Right? Yeah. So Shalobs, we'll go with that. Shalob's Ambush, 1 black, instant. Target creature gets +1/+2 and gains Death Touch until end of turn. Create a food token. So I gave it a B minus. It's a surprise Death Touch, but food token as well. 1 mana. I don't get the +2 part of it, because usually when you're putting something on Death Touch, you're just like, that's a 1/1 Death Toucher there, But giving it a +2, sure, all right, if it works, it works. So yeah, and a food token. So yeah, there you go. What did I give it? A C B minus. I gave it a B minus.
Yeah, I'm with you on B minus. Pretty strong combat trick. If you use it to block, you're going to kill something because of Death Touch, and then the food token on top of that, which worst case, an extra 3 life for you. This is all for one mana. Great value.
Snarling Warg here for 1 black, 3 colorless creature wolf. That's a 3/4 menace, and as long as you control a goblin or orc, this gets a +1/+0. I gave it a C plus. Great filler, and almost becomes a 4/4. But yeah, for me, it could be a C plus, B minus, but definitely C plus.
Yeah, I'm with you on C plus. Like the reason I wouldn't even move into B minus categories, I don't know that I would prioritize this over other things, but the
Right.
menace is pretty darn nice. 4 mana, pretty good. The chance that it could be a 4/4 sometimes, yeah, this is solid card.
The Torment of Golem, 1 black, 3 colorless sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. You also amass Orcs 2. I gave it a C minus. It's 4 mana sorcery. We're gonna remove anything that's not a land from their hand. We also get some intel, and we also make a 2/2 out of it. So, or put 2/1/1 counters on it. So yeah, I gave it a C minus just because I don't want to fill my hand with this, but I it might make the cut.
For me, it's a D, where which again doesn't mean it's worthless, but it means it's playable situationally. This is one of those cards I can see myself cutting if I, but if I didn't have other better cuts, I could play it. Yeah, sorcery speed's a problem. 4 mana is a lot. So another way to look at it, it's kind of like a 4 mana removal spell in a way, but you're running the risk that the opponent doesn't have anything all that interesting in their hand, when you play this, because by the time you're playing a 4 mana card, maybe they're down to 3 cards. I don't know. It's the Amass Orcs 2 helps a little. So we're close. You're at a C minus. I'm at a D on this one.
Troll of Khazad-dûm. 1 black, 5 colorless creature troll, 6/5. It can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures, which is really interesting on this one. And it's also got swamp cycling for 1. I gave it a B plus because I like a 6/5. I feel like in limited you need to have some big beefy things, like at least a couple, and on the swamp cycling on top of it, plus the fact it has to be blocked by 3 or more. So it's just upside on this all the way down. So yeah, I gave it a B plus.
Yeah, and it's also, again, pretty badass from a flavor standpoint, right? One of these trolls is not going to be blocked by one thing. It's going to take a group to go to slow that thing down. I love this card. I gave it a B plus also, for all the reasons that you said, because even if you just attack once with it, you're at a minimum going to take out one high value card of theirs. You might take out 2 or 3 with it, right? And then if you have some of your combat tricks that buff this so that it actually doesn't die, oof, this could be great. Because like that other card we just looked at that gives you the +1/+2, that's an instant. Imagine if you could pull both of those off, right? So
Exactly.
they're like, oh gosh, okay, I got to kill this thing. So they do the 3 block, and then you flash in your card that makes it a, what would that be, a 7/7? And now they're short of killing it, and they just lost 3 things. Oh man, it's a great card.
So Uruk-hai Berserker? Uruk-hai?
I think it's like Urukai, yeah,
Yeah, I gotta say it faster. Yeah,
or Urukai. It might be
Urukai.
Urukai. I think that's what it is. These are those like orc hybrids that Saruman created, right? Like he crossed goblins and orcs together, if I remember right.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so yeah, Urukai. We just have to say it fast. not 2 words. So yeah, 1 black, 2 colorless creature orc berserker. That's a 3/2, and when this enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. I gave it a C plus. I would be happy to have this in my deck, and it's tempting the ring.
Me too, and I definitely like a 3/2 for 3 over a 2/3. Like I could do some damage with this. This is at least a threat on board, and the ring temptation mechanic's great. So I'm with you, dude. C plus.
Okay, the last 2 here, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll come back. We'll talk about the ring, and then we'll go over our rating system one more time. But yeah, Voracious Fell Beast, 2 black, 4 colorless creature drake beast. That's a 4/4 flying. When this enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Create a food token for each creature sacrificed this way. I gave it a C plus because it's a flyer that forces them to sacrifice something. Of course, they're going to get rid of, whatever isn't valuable. It's 6 mana though, so I didn't rate this a B or anything. And plus, we're getting a food token out of it too. So that's the only reason I gave it a C plus.
I'm at a C. I went back and forth on it. The 6 mana cost is my biggest objection, like you pointed out. If this was 5 mana, I'd be more with you on it. And you may be more right than me, because a 4/4 flyer is still going to be quite a threat in this set from everything I'm seeing. The part about each opponent sacrificing a creature, I just picture them sacrificing a 1/1, for that. I don't know how much value I'm really getting. I guess I'm taking out a chump blocker. But yeah, 6 mana is a good bit.
It is. Which king of Angmar? Is that it?
Yeah, I think it's Angmar.
Yeah, 2 black, 3 colorless, legendary creature, Wraith Noble. Again, another Wraith here.
Oh God, these things with the Nazgul, dude, it's so wicked.
So yeah, flying. Whenever 1 or more creatures deal combat damage to you, each opponent sacrifices a creature that dealt combat damage to you this turn. The Ring Tempts You. Discard a card. Which king of Angmar gains indestructible until end of turn? Tap it. I gave it an A minus, but I think I've got to turn it to an A.
It's a straight up A. It's a hardcore A for me, man. The value here is ridiculous, and it's only 5 mana. Oof, sheesh. Plus, it's hard to get rid of as long as you keep a card in your hand, dude. It's a game winner.
I may even change this to an A plus, actually.
Yeah, if we had an S tier, this would be like one of those for me. I think I might be with you. Like A plus, I'll give it an A plus. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, because you're gonna always want to keep a card in hand to keep it indestructible. So yeah,